Welcome to the Real Film Nerds Podcast.
Good day, everyone, and welcome back. For those of you who have listened to us before, all three of you, to another incredible podcast by the Real Film Nerds. Episode number 226, I believe. Does that sound right, Mike?
Yes, that sounds right, Matt. Dude, you're on a roll, man. You're on a roll. Like, your whole... I can't ever make fun of you again. You've gotten them all right for the last, 7 or 8. That's great.
It's not true. I messed up one recently. Remember I said it was 232 or something?
The 222 one, right?
Yeah, I don't know. Doesn't matter.
Right.
So, are you saying I'm like butter because I'm on a roll?
Yeah, no, that's funny.
Mike, you need to learn these things. You're a dad. That's such a dad joke. Why am I the one that has the dad jokes? I am not a dad that I know of.
I'm still working on my dad jokes, Matt, but Maggie's pretty good at them. So I just really need to up my game.
You really do. You really do. So, Mike, for Real Film Nerds, episode number 226, we are talking about the Hitman's Wife's Bodyguard, the sequel to the breakout smash hit of 2017 that I don't think anybody saw coming. Mike, go ahead and give us a rundown.
All right, Matt. Yeah. No one saw the first one coming. This one I didn't even know was coming out either. It probably was supposed to come out last year, like everything. And this movie is directed by Patrick Hughes. It's written by Tom O'Connor, Brandon Murphy. And this is starring Ryan Reynolds, Sam L. Jackson, Salma Hayek, Antonio Banderas, and... there's one other... Oh, okay. Anyway, there's a few other people in it. And this the bodyguard Michael Bryce continues his friendship with assassin Darius Kincaid as they try to save Darius's wife Sonia. That's a pretty simple synopsis.
Okay, Mike. So, first impressions, go.
All right. So, this is kind of like a double review, Matt. I don't know how to do it without talking about the first one a little bit because they're kind of related but not related. Anyway. This, I really liked this movie. It was fun. It was fun like the first one. I think this was a great summer movie. I hope people watch this one. I don't think anyone knew about the first one. I feel like it kind of was a sleeper hit, and it just came out, and it was just funny and fun. Like, I feel like Sam L. Jackson and Ryan Reynolds just have a great time playing these characters. It's just fun. Both those guys together just ripping on each other is just fun to watch.
I thought it was good, but I still think the original is a lot better. There's a lot of things in this film that they brought in from the original and boosted them up kind of like on a whole nother scale. Like I said this morning on the radio, it was like taking it to 11. So the vulgarity and violence and stuff, it's in both of the films, obviously. Having Salma Hayek swear the way she did in the original was great, and it was funny, and it was hilarious because it wasn't that much. In this film, she does it pretty much like from start to finish. Not that I'm against vulgarity, but it just got to the point where it was like, okay, great, we get the gag. So there's little things like that in this movie that I was just like, they had success in the first and they beat it to death in the sequel. So it was okay, but it wasn't nearly as good as the original. I loved the addition of Antonio Banderas though, because the chemistry between him and Salma Hayek is on another level. If you don't believe that, go watch any of the Robert Rodriguez films, Desperado, Once Upon a Time in Mexico, any of those, they're just incredible.
I guess you're right about the vulgarity and some of that stuff, Matt, but I just wrote it off to they're just trying to one up themselves, I guess, from the last one, and they went a little too hard. Maybe they went two up.
Well, I feel like they were like, well, this worked really good in the first one. Let's keep it going in the second one. So, like, for instance, in the first one, there's a handful of gags about the penknife, right? In this one, it's all about the penknife. Like, there's constant gags about the penknife. One that I did really like, and I don't want to spoil it, but Morgan Freeman's character, I did not see coming, and I loved it. And that was probably one of my favorite gags of the entire film, and it was wonderful. I would have liked to have seen a little bit more creativity like that peppered throughout this film instead of relying on banking on what they were successful with the original. I know I've said that like 3 times, but that's, I don't know.
Well, that's fine, man. I mean, you're entitled to your opinion on this one. You're right. They stayed pretty much true to the original's formula and whatnot, but the Morgan Freeman character was amazing, and I really liked how that did come out of pretty much nowhere, and that helped enhance, I think, this movie to me. I thought it was funny. I thought everything to do with his character was great.
Well, it caught me off guard, and that's what the first one did. It caught you off guard on several things. That's kind of the only situation in this film where it really just kind of grabs you and goes, wow, that was hilarious. And if you pay attention to the opening credits, you see his name in it, and you're like, what the hell is Morgan Freeman doing in this movie? I wonder what he plays. And then you find out, and you're just like, hilarious.
I think I like some of these more veteran actors taking on some of these roles that are kind of silly or maybe just way outside of their kind of normal roles. And I mean, although this was a kind of normal role as far as dramatic wise, what the character's doing is completely off of what he's done in a lot of his movies, you know. So I like that.
Oh yeah, especially for Morgan Freeman. Samuel Jackson and Ryan Reynolds, it's, you know, characters from their past, obviously, or influence from their past. Deadpool, Sam Jackson. I mean, God, how many you can pull from him? Pulp Fiction comes to mind, stuff like that. Assassins, you know. But Selma Hayek, it's definitely not the typical for her. She's had some action movie cred here and there, not a ton. Dusk Till Dawn, of course. I always go back to that one. That was just wonderful. But it was cool to see her getting her, I guess you would say, her hands dirty by being, you know, killing and having these big action sequences. And anyways, I'm trying not to talk too much about the movie before we hit our spoiler point, Mike. So I think I'm successful so far.
Yeah, Matt, you've been doing pretty good. I'll agree with that. Yeah, this one, you know, I was looking for a fun movie, especially after we watched the Kajillionaire, and it was just a strange indie movie, and I'm sure lots of people get a lot different things out of it because it's kind of that kind of movie. But this one was great to go back to the theater, and when I went, it was, you know, decently populated, and that was good to see. And yeah, so it's just, I feel like the movie theaters are definitely on their way back, so that's great. I want them to you know, not fall apart and die. So hopefully we can keep the momentum going with the next movie that we're going to review coming up, Matt.
I was going to say, we're definitely going to find out with our next film for next week, because that movie makes $1 gajillion for no reason whatsoever. And we're not going to spoil our pick yet. But again, I watched all those movies, man, in like a week. I feel like I need to go back and watch them again just because it was such a freaking whirlwind. Ugh.
Oh, it's okay, Matt. You can go into every one fresh, and you don't need to know anything about the other one because nothing really relates except a few character things. And even then, usually they explain everything again. So you should be fine. Yes. Matt, as you're kindly reminding me, I think it's time for me to ask you a question about what are you drinking today, Matt?
Well, Mike, I am drinking a beer that I have several of in the fridge, another Shiner Bock, and it is delightful.
Excellent, Matt. Excellent choice. Excellent beer. I'm back to IPAs, Matt. I'm back to good form.
Good.
And
I was real worried there for a while, Mike. I really was.
yeah. And I am drinking a New Belgian 1985 IPA. It's got a little skeleton dude on it.
Is it because 1985? Are you drinking it because you're older than that beer?
Yes, that's it. That's it. I think that's the year that they came up with this recipe. And so they just,
Very original. Very original, Mike.
I don't know if the can says anything. Oh, it's a Voodoo Ranger, which is like their kind of one that they change a lot. Yeah, no, it's got no story on the side of the can. I'm sorry. Nothing.
How dare you, Mike? You know I only like my beers with stories.
Yes, often beers do come with stories, right?
Always.
Whether it's on the can or you're the person next to you.
Speaking of experiences, Mike, there we go. That works. How does the Hitman's wife's bodyguard relate to the Marvel Cinematic Universe?
All right, Matt. This one is an easy one. So we have Mr. Nick Fury, or Samuel L. Jackson, is in this, and he's in I don't know how many. He's in so many of the Marvel movies. It's hard to count. But I guess I can try and list him off.
No, just he's in all movies. Like literally every single movie. I'm pretty sure he even has a spot in like the original Cinderella from like the 30s.
He might. But also as another tie-in for actor was Frank Grillo. He was also in this, and he played a character called Bobby O'Neill. So, it was a couple easy MCU tie-ins, and I like that, Matt, because there's quite a few lately that have seemed like they're pretty tough. So this one was okay. This one was easy.
Now, what character did Frank Grillo play in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, Mike?
Oh, that is an excellent question, Matt. I always forget his character. Brock Ramlow, which was... what's his...
Mike's sitting here feverishly looking on IMDb. For everyone wondering, I know the answer without needing to look it up, but I'm not going to say it. I'm going to make Mike earn it.
Man, come on. It's from like the Winter Soldier.
Crossbones.
Yeah, Crossbones. Dang it.
You never see Frank Grillo's face because he has a mask on the whole time. And Crossbones is a really big-time villain in the Marvel world. I think he's going to be making cameos in some of the newer, older films. So how like Black Widow that's coming out in July. I'm not sure if he makes an appearance in that or not, but there's hints that Crossbones will be in it. And anyways, we'll see.
Now, as far as the timeline, is Black Widow in the past?
Yes.
Or is it in the... Oh, okay.
Yes.
I wasn't sure.
Black Widow is in the past because she is currently dead in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Spoilers.
Oh, dang. Man. Wow.
Come on. If you haven't seen Endgame by now, it's on you. And you're listening to this podcast, come on. It goes on this podcast, it's like Star Wars and then MCU.
That's true. And it's more Star Wars than MCU, right? Like, Matt, should I just start tying everything into the wars?
Mike, that is your section. That is the one thing I make you do for the podcast, so I'll leave it up to you, Mike.
I think it would be tough.
All right, well, we'll just keep going with the MCU, because the MCU keeps going. The Star Wars universe keeps going, but not. Oh, dude, speaking of MCU, have you been watching Loki at all?
Watch the first episode. Yep, watch the first episode. The second episode is incoming, I think, this week, right?
Nope.
Or no.
Third
came out
is
last
incoming this week. It comes out every Wednesday.
I missed last week's.
You know what I like about Loki so far? It's very, very reminiscent of WandaVision. It's not so much in your face action like Falcon and Winter Soldier. It's more mind bending, and I really like that. I really like what they're doing with it. It's very cool. It's very much getting into that multiverse world, and I'm excited to see where it goes. And there is a huge reveal at the end of episode 2.
Okay, man. I will check it out and make sure that I'm up to date.
All right, Mike. So here's one of the issues I have with the Hitman's wife's bodyguard. Selma Hayek is gorgeous. She has been, and she always will be. She looks damn good. But she's 54 years old, and they keep pushing Sam Jackson and her having a kid in this movie. I don't get that, man. Like, are they trying to say that she's much younger than 54? Like, I did not like that aspect of this film.
Okay, you're right. They did push that quite a bit because that's kind of why they're doing this honeymoon thing and yeah, so you're right. I didn't really think about the age aspect as much. I don't know. I think I just went with the I believe stuff on this movie because, I mean, it's pretty ridiculous. There's lots of ridiculous things. I still love the gag about the ratings, like for your Hitman. I lost my AAA rating.
That's not a Hitman.
Oh no, for Bodyguard. Sorry,
Bodyguard protection. I love how they opened the film with that, where him having a dream. I knew it was a dream right off the bat, but it was hilarious that they have AAA rating awards.
That made me laugh quite a bit. So I feel like that was funny, and he just kept, he lingers on it, and the therapy stuff. Like there's a lot of stuff. Like I really liked how they just kind of continued from the first movie of, Ryan Reynolds is just messed up from this one person he lost, really just screwed up his whole career, and then with his father in this, I guess now we're in the spoilers, is Morgan Freeman's
Lord, the big spoiler coming out already. All right.
Well, I mean, we're in the spoiler
zone. You got to give a big warning, though, because that's a big spoiler. All right, go ahead, Mike. Sorry.
All right. It is a big spoiler. But Morgan Freeman's is his dad, and that character is awesome. It's I don't even know if I want to talk about how some of the stuff goes down, but man, there's some funny things that go along with that. So, yeah, I don't know, man. I don't think the baby thing bothered me, man. I don't know. I think I just had a great time watching this movie, so I don't think you're going to find any negative things or anything from my side. So I think I'm going to rate this pretty high, Matt, and I think I'll be a little bit lower. So.
Well, I will pepper on the hate, Mike. I will be the bitter old man like I should be, and I will rate it lower than you want. But so the other really fun gag, other than Morgan Freeman just being Ryan Reynolds' dad, is that he is like the highest AAA rated bodyguard in like history on top of it, and that's why Ryan Reynolds was following in his footsteps. And then, you flip the script about halfway through finding out he's his dad and, Antonio Banderas and blah, 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 all that. But I'm not spoiling it. I'm being good. I know you're giving me the
You
look.
are being good.
All right.
Yep. Being good, Matt.
So, all right. One aspect, I wasn't a huge fan, but I understand because the title of the film is The Hitman's Wife's Bodyguard. The chemistry between Sam Jackson and Ryan Reynolds is way better than the chemistry of Selma Hayek and Ryan Reynolds. And a large chunk of this film is them two rolling around in a car going to different places. Then when you get Samuel Jackson and you get all three of them together, it still wasn't quite that level of Sam and Ryan. It still was pretty good, though, especially when they start, trying to create that baby that they keep talking about over and over and over again, especially when they're driving. I mean, there's some pretty good gags like that throughout the film, but it's just, I don't know, man. I can't get over it. I mean, Samuel Jackson, yes, it's supposed to be fantasy. It's a film, but he's an old man, and Salma Hayek is in her 50s, dude. I can't get over it.
Okay, man, that's fine. You don't have to get over it, man. I just hit the make believe button and was okay. You're right about the first act of this movie is a lot of Ryan Reynolds and Salma Hayek, and it's not as good. It's still good, but it's not quite the same. But once Samuel L. Jackson gets in there and Ryan Reynolds is there, it's good.
It gets a lot
I
better.
thought it was.
Yeah.
The
therapist was pretty funny. Ryan Reynolds going to a therapist for help, and she's literally like, please stop. Basically, please stop coming. Here, you've graduated therapy. Here, put this on your mantle kind of thing. That was
I
pretty
love
good.
that. Yeah, you've now graduated. You don't need to see me anymore. Oh, I have? Yes, you have.
That was great. That was really fun. So, I mean, I didn't hate this movie, Mike. I really did enjoy this movie. Probably not as much as you. And that's one of the problems you always have with sequels is you compare the sequel to the original all the time. There's not a whole lot of sequels in this world that have outdone their originals. We've talked about this before. Terminator 2 comes to mind. That was a fantastic sequel that beat out the original in my book. Empire Strikes Back. Incredible sequel. My opinion, definitely better than the original Star Wars.
All right, yeah. You're right, man. Sequels tend to kind of let us down. So
not let us down. I'm not saying let us down. It's just sometimes that first film sets the bar really high. It's hard to beat it. This is great. This is really good, but it's not going to beat the original.
Yeah, no, you're right. You're right. It didn't beat the original. The original it really did come out of nowhere. And I remember watching it in the theater and was like, man, this is a great movie. I hope this does very well. And I don't think it did. I feel like it either came out at a weird time. I don't remember if there was very much marketing or I don't know exactly what happened. Hopefully it did well in the kind of rental or streaming market afterwards. But man, that movie was just fun. It was just a fun movie.
I don't know if this came out when the podcast had started yet. It might have been before the podcast. But if it was during the podcast, when we started it, it just shows you how much it slid under the radar. We didn't even talk about it. Now, right now, we're in special times right now. Just about every somewhat decent or somewhat big movie that comes out in the theaters we're trying to get to. We're being selective, obviously, like we always are, because Mike and I have certain tastes. Mike has one, I have another. But, Mike, let's go ahead and reveal your pick for next week, since we're already kind of there and I kind of am leading us into it. Mike, it's a key on your keyboard. Mike, what are we watching next week?
It is a key on the keyboard, Matt. It is F9, the Fast and Furious latest movie, starring Vin Diesel and all the people minus Paul Walker.
Because he's no longer with us. Did you see his car from the original Fast and Furious? The orange Supra went up for auction at Barrett Jackson.
No, it did.
Guess how much it went for?
I don't know, man. 2 mil?
No. That's way too high. It still went for a lot. It went for $550,000.
Oh, okay. That's good. That's good.
It's a chunk of change right there, and it's a cool looking car. It is. Granted, it's more the provenance of being in a film than anything else. But
well, I mean, that's cool. I wonder if the person who bought it's ever going to drive it really, or if it's just going to sit in the garage somewhere, warehouse.
Yeah, it sits in a garage except for when you go to car shows. Yeah. I'm kind of dabbling in that world, I guess, in a way. So my girlfriend's father has several collector cars. He sold a couple. He got a mint for his Ferrari, by the way. Highest year and model of that Ferrari ever on Bring a Trailer. I mean, he made a mint. It was really in good condition. He will selectively take one of his cars out every weekend and go and drive it around town, but that's about it.
Okay. All right. Well, I mean, You can do whatever you want. You bought the car, you can drive it, hold on to it, do whatever you want to do.
Well, a lot of people buy these classic cars, especially the ones that are movie cars, as investments because they're going to do nothing but typically make money. It's like investing in stocks or like me sitting behind me, my collectibles. There's certain things you enjoy and they just sit there and accrue over time.
Okay, all right, I got you. So Matt, everything behind you there is an investment?
No, I like it too. That's why I buy it.
Okay. I understand.
I'm a nerd, Mike. I wear that badge proudly. And I wore it proudly, like we've talked about before, many times. Long before it was cool to be a nerd. Both of us did.
It's true. We did. It's definitely different times these days.
All right, Mike, how many reels for Hitman's Wife's Bodyguard?
So I'm going to give this movie 4 reels, and if no one can tell, I definitely recommend you go watch this movie. If you watch it in the theater, it'd be great, but it's just fun, especially if you saw the first one. You don't necessarily need to see the first one to understand that there's a relationship between the people. They kind of explain, there's some exposition, but the first one and this one go together quite well, and it's fun. It introduces you to the 3 main characters. So
I argue against that point because my mom went and saw this without seeing the original, and I think she should have watched the original before seeing this one. I think she would have gotten a lot more out of it, but she still enjoyed it. She thought it was a fun movie. I enjoyed it not as much as you, Mike. I don't think this is a rush to go watch it in the theaters. If you did see the first one, I do recommend you go see it in the theaters just because it is a whole lot of fun and you're not going to hate it. You're going to enjoy it. I give it 3.5.
Oh, okay. A little bit higher. I really thought you were going to go for 3. So awesome.
No, I thought it was good, man. It was entertaining. There's parts that, I think they overdid it, but honestly, one thing I kind of wish there was a little bit more Antonio Banderas in it. Just him being him instead of him kind of, like there's a whole scene with him just kind of sitting in a car and, like the scene where he's sitting there interrogating everyone was really good. I'd like more of that. Antonio Banderas is a great actor, and I don't know if I like that they made him Greek, but to each their own.
Yeah, they probably could have used him a little bit more. You're right. The Greek thing was just whatever, I guess. They needed something, I guess. I don't even think they needed to have that. They could have totally just left it as they were ex-lovers or whatever. I don't know. I don't know why he had to be Greek, but they wanted to do that, so it was in there, I guess. I don't know. Man, it would have been fine if he wasn't Greek. Like, we didn't need to know where he was from. Like,
right. It just kind of was odd. They had this whole expose about Greece used to be on top, and we need to, that's his motive, is that he wants Greece to be on top again. We really didn't need it. He's a villain. He doesn't have to get that deep into why he's doing what he's doing. He's a villain. It is what it is, They could have said he was from Spain or Portugal. That would have worked a lot better with that, with his really thick accent, because he's never going to get rid of that accent. Like, it's what it is,
Yeah. I don't know. That was kind of an odd choice, but who knows? Maybe they didn't think, like, maybe they had somebody else in mind, and for whatever reason that didn't work out, and then Antonio Banderas got cast. I don't know. It was fine, but it's something that was just not needed. Like, we didn't need to know, bad guy's bad guy. We don't need to know why.
Right, exactly. And it's nice to see him back up on the screen. I really like Antonio Banderas. He's a great actor. So, especially with Salma Hayek, gosh, dude. It makes me, seeing them together makes me want to go back and watch, like, the whole trilogy, the Desperado trilogy stuff.
Oh, yeah. No, those are great movies, and it was good to see them back together. Although they only had a few scenes together, because it's really just that that one part of the movie, which but it was okay. They definitely still have the chemistry,
Oh, dude, definitely. You can just see it. They're just, I don't know what it is, man. I don't know what it is. Maybe Robert Rodriguez is directing in those films or whatever. But, I mean, Patrick Hughes, he directed the original. He directed this one. I think he did a bang-up job. He really stuck to it. It definitely felt very much like the first one. He didn't change a whole lot. A lot of the flashback scenes and stuff were on the money. You know, he did a great job. Everybody all around did a good job on this film. But I still think the original is better. So, all right, Mike, next week, your favorite movie ever, F9. Woo!
Yes, not to be confused with F8, F9, and I'm excited also for F10 next year.
Now, are they going to call it F10 or are they going to call it like F Deuce?
Maybe they'll call it FX.
Ah, that's probably what they'll do. Yep. Although, you know, Fox already owns that title. But isn't Fox the one that produces these?
I'm not sure. No, Universal.
Universal? Okay. You would know better than me because, I mean, like I said, it was a blaze of Fast and Furious films, man. Right after Hobbs and Shaw. It was...
Oh, yeah.
They had a marathon on, and I recorded every single one of them, and I watched one a night. It was... I don't know. It was ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous.
They kind of get more and more ridiculous, but I mean, there's always fast cars and there's always ridiculous stunts and there's always like just stupid one-liners. I think that's really all you need, and you've got yourself a billion-dollar movie on hand.
Dude, the stunts are great. I love myself some practical stunts, and they had some pretty good ones in this. You can tell when they flip to digital every now and then, but you know, there's a scene in this one where it was like a bridge with like a helicopter, and the helicopter was like flying under the bridge and over and stuff. A lot of that was practical. Now the explosion in the bridge blowing up and all that was not, clearly they can't do that. But everything like around it, that was practical, man. There was someone in a helicopter doing that, and I thought that was really awesome.
Yeah, practical effects do just come off better often. I mean, I think sometimes it's good to have some you know, special effects with various things, especially with like fire and smoke and stuff. They can do some really cool stuff with that. But yeah, sometimes just a good old helicopter chasing around the cars and doing the things is still really cool to see on the screen. You know, look at what was the last Mission Impossible we watched, Matt? What was the name of it? I get their names confused, man.
I don't know. Mission Impossible 312. Tom Cruise tries to kill himself again.
Yeah. So
was it
on
Rogue Nation,
that,
I think maybe. I don't know.
Oh yeah, dude, that might be it. Mission Impossible Rogue Nation. Yes. Good job, dude. Cheers yourself.
Woo! Here. Cheers.
Cheers. Yeah, that movie was fun, and you know, Tom Cruise learned how to fly a helicopter just for that movie, and the helicopter scene was amazing. So that was cool.
Well, all right, Mike. F9 next week. Make sure and tune in and listen to me on Magic 99.1 every Monday. I go on between 9 and 9:30. Depends how things are going.
All right. And you can catch Matt's interview at the end of this podcast, yeah?
Oh, yeah. I already got it. Ready to go.
Okay. All right. I guess with that, man, I'll wrap it up. Thanks, everybody, for listening. And, you know, go out there and stream a movie or watch a movie at the theater. Thanks for listening, and catch us next week to talk about F9.
Thank you for listening to The Real Film Nerds. Now, don't forget to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Real Film Nerds. Now, go out and catch a movie.
Matt Henshaw from the Real Film Nerds podcast in studio this morning on Magic 99.1. How you doing there, Maddie?
I'm doing well, Mrs. Local. How are you?
Mrs. Local. I'm doing great because I'm prepared. I'm prepared to talk movies with you this morning because I watched the movie that we agreed to watch over the weekend.
So you didn't go golfing at all? It was too hot.
I golfed on Friday, and it was very hot, but it was very fun, and I played not bad. But I didn't do anything on Saturday but watch television, I swear. And I'm embarrassed to admit that to the entire Cinco Cities. But Scott Dandos was out of town, and I just binged all day long. It was really fun.
Okay, so what did you binge?
Okay, well, I watched The Hitman's Bodyguard. And first of all, I'm like, why am I watching this movie? It's very violent. Shoot 'em up movie. Action packed. I'm at first I was like, now why would Matt tell me to watch this movie? He knows. I'm drama. I like drama. I don't really care for comedy, but I like drama. And then I got into it and I was like, this is the most action-packed film I've ever seen. Most violent film as well, I want you to know.
Really?
Yeah, lots of blood, lots of guts, lots of death, lots of shooting, lots of lacerations, but it was really good.
And you haven't seen John Wick? Because John Wick, I mean, this looks like...
No, I don't watch those kind of movies.
Okay, I was going to say, because the Hitman's Bodyguard is like, I don't know, probably Cinderella compared to John Wick. Yeah.
Okay, so don't ever recommend that I watch a John Wick film.
I always recommend it.
Yeah.
John Wick is awesome.
You and I just have different tastes in movies. I think what I'm going to start doing is you're going to recommend yours for me, and I'm going to recommend mine for you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
Because
you enjoyed it, though.
I did. I enjoyed it because I really enjoyed Ryan Reynolds and Samuel L. Jackson. I love Samuel L. Jackson so much. And I loved Salma Hayek as well. They were all very, very good in this film.
See? Well,
yeah.
I told you. It was good.
You did.
It was a surprise
You
hit.
did. But I don't know that I'll watch the Bodyguard, the Hitman's wife's Bodyguard, although is there more Salma Hayek in the movie?
It's almost all Salma Hayek because, she's...
Right.
The hitman's wife.
Right.
So that's what I saw this weekend.
Okay, you saw that one this
weekend.
weekend.
I barely saw it. I went and saw it in the theaters because that's the only
sequel.
place. Yeah.
Yeah, and what'd you think?
So they took the original and turned it up to like 11.
Wow.
So there was plenty of action, but Salma Hayek has vulgarity and certain things like that, but you get like a taste here and there.
Right, in the first one.
In this one, they really crank that up to where it's almost like obnoxious.
Too much?
Yeah.
Okay. I could see how that would be obnoxious.
It's like, oh, well, okay, that's funny. Salma Hayek is saying this and saying this. And
right.
It was great because it caught you off guard in the first one. And this one, it's just kind of...
Too much.
Yeah.
Okay. You sound disappointed.
Yeah, it was good. I enjoyed it, but it's not as good as the original. It's hard to touch the original.
Right.
There was a couple surprise cameos that were really good.
Yeah.
Ryan Reynolds did well. He wasn't as funny as the first one. I don't know if that's just how they wrote it.
Okay.
Samuel Jackson, he's a main character, but he's almost more of a side character because he's there, but it's mostly about Salma Hayek and Ryan Reynolds.
Okay.
So it was good. It was enjoyable.
Yeah.
Do I recommend? Do you take the time to go and see it at the theaters? Maybe if you really, really, really like the first one. If you haven't seen the first one at all, it's not worth it.
Okay.
But if you really enjoyed the first one, go see the second one.
Okay. Well, I don't know that I'll see it. Maybe I'll wait and see.
It might be a bit much for you.
How many reels you giving it?
3.5.
3.5. Because I did like Selma's part, her character. But yeah, I could see how too much of that would be too much.
Well, it's a plot point. You can see it in the trailer. I won't spoil it too much. But basically, the hitman was taken hostage by the mafia, and Ryan Reynolds and Salma Hayek have to go rescue him.
Okay. All right. So, okay. All right. Very good. How many reels did you give the Hitman's Bodyguard, the first movie?
I think that movie came out right around when I started the pod. I don't know if we did it.
Okay.
But if I was to rate it today, it would probably be either a 4 or 4.5 because it just really caught me off guard, and it was a lot better than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah. The comedic relief in that violent movie was refreshing, if you will.
It's very Deadpool-esque.
Yes, for sure. Okay, so I also watched Woman in the Window. Have you seen this film? I also read the book.
No.
Okay. That's
Why is she in the window?
That's your assignment to watch for next week.
Do I have to?
Woman in the Window, and it's on Netflix.
Okay.
And we'll chat about that next week.
Okay.
What are you going to watch next week along with that?
Well, one of the best movies that we've been anticipating for
Fast
almost
and Furious?
a year. Yes, F9.
F9.
We have to
How
go
did
see
I know?
F9.
Okay, and you have to see that in the movies.
Yeah,
in the theater.
That's one in the theater.
Although I just got an 85-inch television, so does that qualify?
It's pretty close.
It's pretty close.
Do you have Dolby Atmos surround sound?
No.
Okay, then
no.
You're gonna have to go to the theater. I'm sorry.
All right, you guys check out the podcast. It's called The Real Film Nerds. Matt, I'll see you next week.
As always, Lisa.